Welcome to Sport Management 811, Sport and Society. My name is Mark Vermillion, and I have the pleasure of teaching this particular class in this particular semester. It's wonderful to have you. Oftentimes people take this particular course as they're starting the grad program. I should mention this class is also a pretty popular elective for those outside of the Sport Management graduate program, and I love having as many people as possible, different ideas, different experiences, those types of things that you can bring to bear in a classroom situation. As the chair for the Department of Sport and Leadership Studies, I have the unique opportunity to get to see a lot of different academic programs, not just here within our particular department, but within our college and then all across the university landscape. And there's something that I really enjoy the way that sport as this very complicated, nuanced institution. It just affords us a great opportunity to learn from each other and to learn a little bit about different parts of dynamics or thoughts, ideas, concepts, theories, ways of just viewing the human experience both inside and outside the institution of sport, recreation, and physical activity. Really what I wanted to do in this particular video is just kind of give, since this is an asynchronous online class and program, I just wanted to do two things. One, talk about some class logistics as a way of setting some expectations for everyone involved, including myself, but then also just to let you know that since there's a good chance I may not see many of you, if any of you all, throughout the semester face-to-face, that there is a person that is attempting to, create this course and kind of walk alongside you as we go throughout this abbreviated 8-week semester. So if you do have any questions, and I say this all the time, I will continue to say it, please know that my job is to help as much as humanly possible, so feel free to reach out. Communication is going to be kind of a key theme, not just in this class, but also throughout your success and time within the graduate program in general. So a couple things in terms of the syllabus. Many of you, you've already, if you're in a graduate program, you've already completed an undergraduate degree in some way, shape, or form at some place, so you know a syllabus, you know how important they are. So I don't necessarily need to belabor that point, but I will say there is a lot of information contained within the syllabus template that WSU provides. And so in theory, almost all of your courses will look the same in terms of the syllabus, right? And there's a lot of good, important university information in there. So please make sure that you're looking at that. Also on the syllabus, it talks about, my student office hours, right? And what essentially this is time I set aside during the week so that I can meet with students and answer questions. Now, some of you are sitting there saying, that's great, Mark. I'm a working professional, fully online student. I can't really pop by Hubbard Hall 221 just to shoot the breeze about whatever's going on in the class. Completely understandable. So I'm very flexible in terms of communication. We can, kind of custom discuss either through email, through Blackboard messaging, if you want to schedule a phone call or if you want to schedule a Zoom or a Teams so that we can kind of talk through whatever questions, comments, ideas, thoughts you might have. Feel free to do that. Not a big deal. Just want to let you know that when I say communication is important, it really is a bilateral thing. It's not a unilateral that you need to communicate with me. We here in the program, in the department, need to communicate with you all as much as humanly possible. The Blackboard shell, I try to do things, I try to keep things pretty simple. Just because for me, if there's too many bells and whistles, visually it gets sort of convoluted and confusing, and I tend to operate off of that KISS model, right? Keep it simple, stupid referring mostly to me in this case. But the idea is that you're going to get on there, you'll see, hey, I need to start here. Here's the syllabus or the beginning course information, and then we have modules, right? And then within each module, you'll have short little quiz, you'll have some notes, you'll have an opportunity to apply the information in that particular module, right? So an assignment of some sort, and your typical sort of cumulative project and those types of things. So we're really not cutting any new assessment ground with some of the things here, but what I do try to do is I try to make sure that the notes have enough information so that you go through that. That's going to be important to you so that you can really, again, kind of further understand the nuanced relationships between individuals or organizations within, this industry that is so complicated, the sport industry. And so the assignments are really just opportunities to try to apply whatever it is that we're talking about. Quizzes are not meant to trip anyone up or anything like that. They're just simply to make sure that you're consuming the information at an appropriate level, you have some command of the material, and that you're able to kind of understand it, apply it, and then move forward. Because again, really the whole point here is not necessarily to be hard on tests or anything like that, but it's just to make sure you have a foundational understanding for how to look at the sport industry from a variety of different points of view. And this particular class is unique in that regard because, marketing is going to pull from a rich discipline of marketing, ethics and law are going to pull from their disciplines. And here, when we talk about sport in society, we have a lot of different tools that are available to us. So we're going to pull from, some of the social sciences. We're going to pull a little bit from educational research. We're going to pull from, psychology and leadership and all these different things as a way to really kind of understand this institution that you all are either working in or will be working in moving forward. Because the basic sort of premise for me is that people are complicated. Sports and the organizations and the institutional arrangements is exceedingly complicated. So any question about people and sport is going to be, by its very nature, a complicated endeavor. Therefore, we need to have a variety of tools available to us as leaders to really understand the situation, understand the context, a variety of different viewpoints, so that we can make the best decisions possible for our organizations, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, for our own personal careers. You're going to be balancing both of those things as you enter into the industry and then matriculate your way forward. So, don't get bogged down in the structure. These two things, the blackboard shell and the structure, really are kind of connected in the sense that I use the blackboard shell as a way to articulate and outline the structure for the course. If for whatever reason you have any questions about it, you're confused, or you don't understand what I'm saying, feel free to ask me. What's really important is I try to give time for you all to do what needs to be done. But we only have 8 weeks, and we're going to hit the ground running, right? And so we're trying to digest as much information as humanly possible, but try to do it in bits and pieces so that we can really be efficient with our learning, that the information can apply to you and what it is that you want to do moving forward. So before I get on to the kind of salutation and the final word for the course, this is something that if you've had me before, and some of you may have, you've seen this. But this is something that I've done every single class I've ever taught, whether it's an intro level social science course all the way up to a grad course in a grad program or anything like that. But I think it's really important for us, especially as leaders within a very, very complicated, nuanced, but also very impactful and powerful industry, right? And so we know that sure, you come to college and higher education for a diploma and a piece of paper and all that kind of stuff, but there's also this idea of I want to better myself so that I can be more impactful mentor, leader, manager, whatever it is, coach, all those different types of things, right? And so that knowledge, how do we develop it and what is it, right? And that latter part, what is knowledge? That is a complicated question. So in terms of trying to source an answer, I went to people far smarter than me. And I went all the way back to ancient Greece and Plato, the philosopher, and he basically said, knowledge is just two things. And I love how, whew, that marker is squeaking, isn't it? Knowledge is the intersection of two things. One, truth. And truth for us is going to be akin to like social fact, right? So when we talk about things that have changed in NCAA athletics, policies, those things are factual, right? And they're going to impact our knowledge base. So that's kind of what we're talking about here. But then there's also this other much more sort of social scientific and very philosophical and difficult thing to understand. So Plato said, I guess we should put it up here. Plato said that knowledge is the intersection of truth and belief. This one is probably the most difficult. There's a lot of information, especially in this day and age, that comes to us as individuals, as citizens, as leaders, and how do we sift through that information, okay? And really what Plato was kind of saying here was that you've got all this stuff coming to you, and how you choose to incorporate that into your worldview, your leadership philosophy, how you view things, how you operate, how you navigate, that is when you really start to develop knowledge, whenever all of that stuff comes together. And that's really what we want to do in this particular class, right? Or at least that's kind of my general point of view, is that this is an awareness raising class. My job's not to tell you what to believe or how to navigate or how to operate or how to run your team or your organization, anything like that. Not at all. I'm more of kind of a value add in the sense that this class is just to provide you with information that might impact what you do and how you do it. Now, and I'm really big on this too, is that you're going to have your personal experiences, you're going to have your professional experiences, and every single one of us has had different unique experiences, whether it's personally, professionally, organizationally. Some have been, global and international, others have been much more local. All have utility and all influence who we are and how we approach things, both now and then moving forward. And so really this class is just about taking a step back. You're going to receive a lot of information in this particular graduate program from a lot of different people, a lot of different viewpoints. And this one is sort of similar in the sense that it's about trying to understand our most important aspect of the sport industry, right? And I've said this many, many times, our job in sport management is not sports. I mean, that's kind of where it takes place and the how and whatnot, but really our job involves people. Now, it doesn't matter whether you're an introvert or extrovert or anything like that, because truth or social fact says both can be successful leaders in the right situations with the right tools, doing the right things that are good for them in their organization and their stakeholders, right? But it's really going to be more about understanding the lay of the land, context. The more you know about the people around you, the more you know about the communities you serve, the more you know about the people you work with, right? Then the better prepared you're going to be to not only elevate them in their personal careers, but also take your position as a leader and be very impactful in that position. And that's really what the class is, okay? And when I talk, and my final word here is kind of bringing all this sort of mess together, is that working with people is an amazing endeavor. It can be the highest of highs, but it can be the lowest of lows. And we find that one of the things that makes for a great working experience is communication, okay? As I've said, I will communicate with you on a regular basis. And this is going to involve what we call Student Early Alert System, SEAS reports here at WSU. Just an opportunity every week I file these to let people know that if you missed a deadline, not the end of the world, need to reach out to me, but it's just a way to make sure everyone is staying on track. So that's one way that we want to communicate and make sure that students are able to persist to their ultimate goal. And then also I do weekly announcements through Blackboard. And these things are not, they're not amazing or worth holding your breath for or anything like that, but I try to do something weekly so that what do we need to do this week? What are you going to be? We're starting a new module. Here's a brief sentence or two about that module. What are some expectations? What are some upcoming deadlines? Those types of things, okay? And to me, as with anything, either any class or any professional development or any training that you go to, folks are going to get out of things what they put into them. And I don't mean that in a negative way or anything like that, but this is an opportunity. If you want to challenge yourself, then this class, this programs provide you the petri dish where you can kind of cuss and discuss some different ideas and think about things slightly differently. That's completely up to you. You have the autonomy to take this program, to take this class, do what you need to do to be successful moving forward. That's really our job, is to make sure that you have all the tools necessary to do whatever it is that you want to do in the industry, with your career, with your community, with your family, your friends, all those different types of things. So that's kind of the end of my little, first day of class, if you will, introduction. But as we move through, communication's key. Please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to, like I said, if we need to set up a time to chat about things, not an issue whatsoever. Please make sure you reach out. We'll get something scheduled. And moving forward, once you leave this class, feel free, if I used to be the grad coordinator as chair of the department. I've seen things over the, many, many years that I've been here at WSU. So if you have any questions about that, I'm happy to provide some perspective, happy to help out however possible. Last thing, these 8 weeks, as I said before, they move, they go quickly. And I know you all are busy professionals with a lot going on, so please make sure that you're managing your time and structuring things so that you can be successful both here and then the other spheres of your life. And if you need anything in the meantime, feel free to give me a holler, and I hope you have a wonderful semester, and hopefully down the road, I will see you and talk to you later. All right.